Welcome back everyone, and thank you for joining us once again. If you love unbelievable talent, emotional moments, and performances that feel too good to be real, then you are exactly where you need to be. Today, we are diving into one of the most jaw-dropping stories to ever hit America's Got Talent. And trust me, you're about to witness the kind of moment that stops time, raises the audience to their feet, and leaves even the toughest judges speechless. So sit back, relax, turn up your volume, and get ready for an unforgettable journey, because today we are talking about the 10-year-old kid who walked onto the AGT stage and played like a world-class pro. A kid who completely shattered expectations, stunned millions, and showed everyone that age has nothing to do with greatness. The auditorium lights dim, the entire theater buzzing with anticipation, and the cameras prepare to capture another audition. But this one felt different from the moment he stepped onto the stage. A tiny figure, walking slowly toward the center, almost swallowed by the size of the AGT set. He looked nervous, but not in the way most kids look. He wasn't shaking, he wasn't overwhelmed. Instead, he seemed to carry something inside him. Something calm, something powerful. His eyes scanned the audience, the judges, and the instrument waiting for him as if he had been waiting his whole life for this exact moment. Simon Cowell leaned forward slightly, the way he does when he senses potential. Sofia Vergara smiled warmly, ready to encourage. Heidi Klum's eyes softened instantly, and Howie Mandel raised his eyebrows, curious about what would happen next. The judges had seen kids before. They had seen young prodigies, surprising talents, and incredible performances. But this one was about to rewrite their entire definition of talent. The boy introduced himself with a shaky but determined voice. He said his name, his age, and his dream. He didn't need fancy words to explain why he was there. His dream spoke through his eyes. He came to play, to prove himself, and to share something he had been working on since he could barely reach the keys. He sat down in front of the piano. But something strange happened in that moment. The audience suddenly fell silent, as if holding its breath. Even the judges leaned in unconsciously, feeling a tension in the air that no one fully understood. He placed his hands gently on the keys, closed his eyes for a moment, and then he played. Not like a beginner. Not like a child. Not even like a talented young musician. He played like a master. With emotion, precision, depth, and control that felt impossible for a 10-year-old. The melody that flowed from the piano wasn't just beautiful, it was alive. Every note carried a purpose. Every pause meant something. Every dynamic shift pulled the audience deeper and deeper into the moment. The judges froze. Simon's expression changed instantly. That skeptical half-frown melted into shock. Then awe. Then disbelief. He turned toward the other judges, silently asking, "Are you hearing what I'm hearing? How is this possible?" The crowd erupted into applause only minutes in, but he didn't even flinch. He continued playing with the same calm confidence, never losing focus. His hands moved faster, then slower, then exploded into a storm of impossible runs and emotional phrasing. It was like watching a seasoned concert pianist performing a masterpiece, except this was a child who could still be in elementary school. The cameramen zoomed in on the judges' reactions, capturing every drop of amazement. Parents in the audience were crying. Teenagers were recording on their phones, whispering, "No way. This is insane." Adults stared with their mouths open. And the entire theater felt like they were watching history. The boy's parents watched backstage, trembling with joy. They weren't the kind to brag. They weren't the type to push their child into the spotlight. In fact, the biggest reason he was even on the stage was because a teacher insisted he audition. His parents had always known he was special, but they never realized just how far his gift could take him. Until now. He ended the piece with a soft, delicate final chord that floated in the air like a feather. And when he lifted his hands from the keys, the audience exploded. People jumped to their feet so fast that the chairs snapped back. The judges stood up almost simultaneously. Heidi clapped like she had just witnessed magic. Sophia had tears in her eyes. Howie shook his head in pure disbelief. And Simon, the toughest critic on reality television, was smiling. A real smile. One of those rare smiles he gives only when something extraordinary happens. The boy looked up, confused for a moment. As if he didn't understand that he had just made the entire world stop. Then he smiled shyly, overwhelmed by the standing ovation that would soon become one of the most replayed moments on the internet. Simon spoke first. Slowly. Calmly. Choosing each word with weight. He said that it was one of the most extraordinary auditions he had ever seen. That the level of emotion, skill, and natural talent he displayed was something even professionals struggled to achieve. That he didn't just play the piano, he told a story, painted emotions, and connected with every single heart in that room. Howie called him a genius. Heidi said he had a gift from another world. Sophia said she felt every note inside her heart. But then Simon said something that would be replayed thousands of times by fans around the world. He said, "You're only 10 years old, but you play better than professionals who've been doing this for decades." The crowd cheered louder, and the boy looked like he couldn't believe what he was hearing. But it wasn't over yet. Because Simon wasn't finished. He leaned forward, looked directly at the boy, and said the words that would change everything. He said, "This is not just a great audition. This is the kind of audition people remember for the rest of their lives." And then he reached for the golden buzzer. The moment Simon's hand touched the button, the theater erupted again. Glittering gold confetti exploded from the ceiling and rained down on the young pianist as he covered his face in shock. His parents backstage fell into each other's arms, screaming with joy. The judges stood together, clapping, smiling, cheering, completely mesmerized by what they just witnessed. The boy stepped forward, completely overwhelmed, and Simon walked onto the stage to meet him. Simon told him that he had something special inside of him, something rare, something the world needed to hear. That he wasn't just talented, he was exceptional. As the golden confetti continued to fall, the boy said softly that he practices every day because music helps him express things he can't say in words. That sometimes he feels lonely, but music makes him feel understood. And in that moment, everyone watching understood him too. The clip went viral instantly. Millions of views overnight. Thousands of comments from musicians, teachers, pianists, and fans around the world calling him a prodigy, a once-in-a-generation talent, a miracle. International newspapers covered his audition. Reaction channels praised his technique. Music experts compared him to some of the greatest performers of all time. But the truth is, the numbers didn't matter. What mattered was the way he made people feel. He wasn't just playing music. He was touching hearts. He was giving people goosebumps. He was proving that age doesn't define brilliance. During the next rounds, he continued to blow everyone away. His performances got more intense, more emotional, more daring. He played pieces far beyond his years with a maturity no one could explain. Each time the judges praised him, he smiled shyly, as if he still didn't realize just how extraordinary he was. And yet, he never bragged. Never acted like a star. He remained humble, grateful, and focused, qualities that made people love him even more. Behind the scenes, he practiced non-stop, not because he wanted to win, but because he genuinely loved the music. He lived for those moments at the piano. Fans everywhere started calling him the little maestro. The child prodigy of AGT. The boy who played like a legend. Even professionals around the world reacted. Some said they wished they had his emotional control at such a young age. Others said they couldn't believe a 10-year-old could understand the music on such a deep level. And many agreed on one thing. This kid wasn't just talented. He was destined for greatness. As the season went on, the world followed his journey. People cheered for him, cried during his performances, and celebrated his growth. Whether he won or not didn't matter, he had already become a star. By the time he reached the finals, he had transformed from a shy little boy into a confident young artist. His final performance left the judges speechless once again, proving that his golden buzzer wasn't just deserved, it was destiny. And today, as we look back at his journey, one thing is clear. Greatness doesn't follow rules. Talent doesn't follow age. And sometimes, the biggest gifts come from the smallest performers. A 10-year-old walked onto the AGT stage. And he played better than the pros. He inspired millions. He changed lives. And he reminded us that no dream is too big, no age too young, and no talent too small to shine. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most breathtaking AGT